Welcome to our team meeting where we talk about stats. I have been gone for a while because I've been in the hospital with COVID, and we're in social distancing areas and wearing masks and being really careful because a couple of us, including me and Connie, have been to the hospital already this year because it's so bad. So be careful out there. But the housing market is still moving on. So let's talk about the homes sold just in November 2020. If we compare last year, 2019, we sold 224 homes in our region. This year, we sold 256. So the increase is real. We feel an increase, and we actually have an increase. So even though the inventory feels low, we're still selling more homes than we did last year. We just have an influx of buyers, I believe, that is really creating a tight market for sellers, and prices are being pushed up because there's just not enough homes for the amount of buyers we have. So a 14.3% increase year over year for November, but 1 month never really tells the whole story. So let's go January. Oh, you have a different breakdown here. There's your price range and average days on the market.
And I would say most people would never guess that we are still selling more homes than last year. I mean, it just seems like inventory is so tight, so you'd think it'd be less, but no, it's not true. I mean, we're still, it's a hard thing to process.
And the fact that we've got 11 homes sold from $500,000 to $600,000 in our area in 1 month, it's amazing.
It is amazing. And the average days on the market, less than a month in that price range. It is crazy. Plus, we're hitting over 1 million. We have homes selling, and then a couple in the 700,000 to 800,000. I mean, that's about 4 years ago. There was 6 total homes over 1 million that have sold in the history of our market. So things are changing, and they're changing rapidly. But let's look at the next slide there, Jess, because January to November, how many homes have sold year to date? Last year, we were at 2726. This year, we're at 2946. So just what Chad was saying, even though it feels like things are slowing down and less homes are selling, it's not right. We have an 8% increase on our year to date number of homes and people that are moving. So what's really happening is just the pressure from the amount of buyers, because we have more homes that are selling year over year, but we have way more activity. Next is let's look at the average price. And this is the one that is very interesting and creates a little bit of concern for the longevity and the sustainability of our current increase in our market, because last year our average price of homes was $249,514 in November. This year, just that 1 month, $318,633. So if you wanted to buy a house last November, you could sell it for almost 30% more than you bought it, according to that statistic. But let's look year to date, because that'll give us a little better picture on this next slide, where January to November, we see the increase of the average over time, and that percentage is 17.6% overall. So some price ranges, we're seeing more than that percentage-wise increase year over year. In some price range, we're seeing a little bit less, but overall, the average, that's a crazy number that we have never seen in this market.
So Jeremy, what I first saw when I thought of this is almost in 1 year, you eliminate mortgage insurance. Because once you have 20% equity, you can drop your mortgage insurance if you're on a conventional loan 1 year. That used to be 5 to 7 years of payments.
Man, that is a great point. I hadn't even thought of that. So at least there is some benefit. And I don't know if certain lenders have time frames before you can drop that, or you have to have it on for a certain amount of time. But that is definitely worth talking to a lender for 2 reasons. Your rate a year ago was way higher than they are today. And what if you could drop your mortgage insurance and save some money on your house payment? So if you haven't talked to a lender and you got your loan more than 12 months ago, you need to talk to somebody. Let's hit the next one. So this is the list to sold price. So if I list my home at 300,000, I can expect almost 300,000. Where people are getting what they're asking as long as they're not crazy. Some of the things that you see in the let's go back, Jessica. Let's to the slide where you had the breakdown of the price ranges, because that price range will kind of give you an idea of the list to sold price, because there's some anomalies in is page 1 there, just I think the second slide, that some of these price ranges, you've got people really outpricing the market. And so just because the market's hot doesn't mean you can list your home that's worth 300,000 for 450 and get it, right? And so we're seeing that in some of these price ranges, when you have 98 days on the market or 271 days, or 0 to 100,000, it says that we have 49 days on the market. That should be the quickest one, right? And so it kind of throws off those price ranges. But if I was to look between 2 to 300,000, we're selling more homes today than we ever have, and the average days on the market is less. Look at the 3 to 399, 73 homes sold and 16 days on the market. And so the average overall, you can go back to that last slide, is that people are getting about what they're asking once they're priced according to the market. And so that's sorry, we'll make you go all the way back here. So there's your list is sold in November to November of year to year. Here is the January to November. We're getting more on average than what you're asking. And I heard yesterday a guy was saying his son bought a home in Utah. The market was crazy. They had 14 offers on one home and they couldn't believe it. Has anybody seen that in our market? More than 10 to 20 offers on one property? Abby, you're shaking your head yes. Some homes are,
oh, sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, Hunter and I both had offers on the same home, and there were over 10 offers on it, and that was last weekend. So yeah, I mean, it was really, really crazy. And we went massively over asking price in order to get it. So
crazy. Hunter, are you going to say something?
I was just going to say, yeah, to go along with Abby. I mean, a couple of weeks before that too, we were kind of in the same situation where there, I think was 13 or 14 offers on a home. And you see that price range, that 300 to 399. That's where you see a lot of the offers landing, is somewhere within that price range. So the data is completely true. That's what we're seeing out in the field.
Yeah. That's great feedback, because if you're a buyer, are there strategies that you can use as an agent to help their offer be the one of the 15 that the seller's looking at that they choose? Do you have strategies that you're using with that?
Yeah, I mean, a couple of options that we look at with the offer. One, I mean, that's the biggest component is probably purchase price. It seems like the offer with the highest price is the one to win. But sometimes you have to also look at are there contingencies, are non-refundable earnest money. So if the seller's in a situation where they need cash quick, is an extra $3,000-$4,000 that they can get in a matter of a week, is that going to be, huge to them? And a lot of the times it can be. So there's different things that you can look at on an offer and put together to make it look, a lot more attractive, even if the purchase price is a little bit lower.
That's good. So
to piggyback on what Hunter's saying too, is that it's setting up your clients for success walking into even placing an offer and going to market, so to speak, by having the right lender. Because when you're going up against 10 other offers and you have a local lender that is reputable, and yeah, you may not be the highest price, but given the way things have gone, if you do have a local reputable lender like Idaho First, who we primarily work with, I've won deals just because of that, even though I didn't have the highest price. So it's setting up, being totally set up prior to even like walking into a home that you might be putting an offer on. So.
Yeah. Well, that's great. So if you don't have guidance and you're a buyer in this market and you don't understand that there's going to be 15 other people that do this day in and day out, we recommend you sit down with us and just listen to some of the strategies that we use, because we are winning offers over multiple other offers and getting prices. So, so that's just telling us that year over year, they're just getting what's asked. So average days on the market, I think that's where you're taking over, right, Chad?
Yep.
Great.
Okay, so we see an increase in sales price, and we see an increase in home selling, but we are seeing a decrease, which makes sense, on the average days on market. And so last November, there were 41 days on the market to sell a home on average. That's dropped down to 29. So that's over 14% decrease. And again, those numbers are skewed because, an average takes the shortest and the longest and everything in between. And so there are ones that are overpriced that sit on the market. We all know those ones where people call and they are still sitting there and it's skewing the numbers. So our actual days on market is much lower, but the real days on market is 29. So, which is still just a crazy perception. Year to date so far, we're sitting about the same. It went from 35 to 34, so we're sitting flat on our days on market overall for the market. And the market that we're pulling data from on this is basically combining from Bingham County, Bonneville County, and Jefferson County is where we're pulling that data from. So as far as how many homes are currently on the market, this is a really interesting stat, because if you guys remember a few months ago, we were getting worried that Bonneville County might, bless you, Dalton, bless you. We were worried that Bonneville County might hit something that we've never had it on record of doing, and that is being under 100 homes on the market in Bonneville County. Well, guess what? As of now in Bonneville County, there's actually like 51 homes on the market. And so this is now, not only did we go way under what we thought might happen in December, but now if you include Bonneville, Bingham, and Jefferson, we're under 100 homes on the market for all three of those counties. I was pulling some stats here. Bingham County is just around 25 homes for sale. Jefferson's at 22. There's only 17 in Madison as of this morning. And so there is just not much inventory. And how in the world we continue to still have more homes sold this year over last year is a reflection of just how tight the market is, and when they go, they go. So
Jen, I want to caveat this. If anybody's looking at these stats, we did pull 16 homes off of this currently on the market in Swan Valley that have been on the market for almost 2 years that are pre-builds. They don't have any houses yet. So if you pull those, that's why
they're pre-advertising. So they're messing up our stats. So we're cooking the books a little bit here. So, yeah. So, it is a reflection. It would be higher, but they haven't even built those. They're just thrown on the market. So we did choose to take those off. So absorption rate, another crazy thing. And again, look at that. Last month, there were 143 homes on the market. So we've dropped it down 33%, our overall inventory.
Hey, Chad, I might add in there, we're this area, we're always concerned about winter months, right? Nobody wants to move in the winter. Mm-hmm. But if you're a seller right now and you know that you're only going to be competing against 50 other homes in our whole region instead of 300 homes later on in the year, that you're a lot better chance that you can get super top dollar right now if you're one of 50 instead of one of a couple of hundred. So
yeah,
good time to sell, even if we're in December, January.
Great time to sell. So, so absorption rate. We've always talked about absorption rate as long as I've ever heard of the term absorption rate in months. Okay. And if you're balanced, you're around 5 or 6 months. If you're over 6 months, it's a what market?
Buyer's market.
Buyer's market. If you're under 5 months, it's a seller's market. And so you have these, it's our gauge. We go off months of inventory. Okay, well, guess what? We're using decimals now for 1 month. 0.35 months of inventory. So we're measuring it now for the first time that I've ever experienced this, in absorption rates being measured in weeks. And we have 1.5 weeks of inventory. We were on a call with Gary Keller a few weeks ago, and he actually had us post what our inventory was around the whole country. So in a matter of 60 seconds, certainly every state in the country is represented, and numerous cities within each state were represented. This low inventory is not a national thing. We are very much leading the pack on low absorption rate. I don't know if that's a prize that we're proud of, but most people do not have absorption rate as low as we do around in the country. I mean, it's a buyer's market everywhere, but I mean, a buyer's market's a 2 or 3 or 4 month inventory for absorption rate. And so it's
seller's market, right?
Seller's market. Yes. Sorry. Thank you.
Chad, was there an average absorption rate like for the states? Was there like a number that was pretty similar?
We didn't run them, but as I saw them, it seemed like most markets were about 1.5 months to 2 months of inventory.
We're at a week and a half.
Yeah, we're at 0.35 a month. So.
Well, we might want to point out at that point, by the way, a month to a month and a half, 2 months, that's still a significant seller's market. It just seems like, oh, that's a lot, but that is not a lot. That is still a severe seller's market.
Yeah, for those of you that are new in the market and haven't seen a buyer's market, you might think that a 4 or 5 month inventory might seem unhealthy. It's like, whoa, this market sucks. Well, no, you haven't even seen a buyer, a seller's or buyer's market yet. So,
well, Chad, what was it? Maybe just 4 or 5 years ago?
Yeah.
4 years ago, we sat usually about 1,000 to 1,500 homes on the market at any given time.
Yeah. Yeah. No, 1,000 that was when the market crashed. So that was about 10 years ago. We had.
Was it just? Oh.
That's that was our high. We typically sit around. Typically, we average probably 400 to 500 homes on the market. So, yep. Ashley, what's your take on this market versus before with this many? I mean, you've been able to see. I mean, you came in after the whole Great Recession, but when you started, it was still considered a decent seller's market, right? So you've been able to see the seller's market.
Yeah. So, I mean, I was told it was a low market, 5-6 years ago when I started, low inventory market, and now it's a low inventory market. I think just the biggest differences for clients is that there are more multiple offer situations than there were before, even though it still felt very hot of a market for buyers. But the days on market is extremely significant. The biggest change because I just talked to a buyer this morning and she said, hey, can I look at this new listing? And I said, when can you look at it? And she said, Saturday. And 5 years ago, I'd say, okay, sounds good. And I messaged her back and said, you know what? You're not going to want to wait that long. We're probably going to have to look at it today. So besides price, it's really days on market and use a lot more different techniques now in a multiple offer situation like we were talking before to be able to kind of outbid. But it's really just that days on market. That's the biggest change. And before, an average client of mine would look at anywhere from 8 to 12 homes on average. The first couple of years I was working in real estate, and now I got to tell you, it's like 2 to 4. Wow. Honestly, I'm not seeing very many more than about 5 houses, only because we look and look and look and look, and they don't seem to ever pop up. So when they do pop up and we actually have something to look at, the buyers are like, well, we've been looking, we know there's nothing else out here like this. And so days on market and how many houses you end up buying. I mean, multiple buyers I've had buy the first house they looked at after looking for months. So,
and in this market, some of the trade-offs are I mean, back in the day, they could call you, a new house could come on the market on Friday, and you're probably okay waiting until, Sunday or Monday to show them the house. Now you can't. You have to be much more reactive. You show them, but back then you were wanting to show less houses and be more efficient. Well, now you're efficient. You just have to be way more reactive, and so it's you can't totally control that. So yeah, that's a good perspective, Ashley. Thank you. Okay, so next slide. So this kind of gives a breakdown of where things, as far as our active inventory is. And obviously most of it's 500 or under. I think if people ask you, what's your hotspot on the market, it's really, 400 or under is our hottest, but even at 500 or under, it's where the majority of the activity is happening in closings. So, but there's a good little breakdown. It's all over. You can see, obviously, once you hit $600,000, days on market goes up higher, and it's a little softer. So anyway.
Chad, I might mention, it's interesting as we look at these days on market, if we flip back over, now that I'm going to get good at flipping through the things, if we jump back over to the breakdown of average days on market for the solds, look in this price range. It's 16 days on market for 300 to 399. And if you jump back over to our current inventory, look at that. Are you guys impressed? I'm impressed. I've been working on that.
Yeah, that is really impressive.
So 300 to 399. Look at this. 50 days on market for our inventory. There are houses in that hot price range sitting.
Yeah. And so it just shows it's not a magic market. You throw it out there, you still have to be competitive. So if you're not competitive on your price, you are, you're still not going to sell, which just makes the numbers tweak a little bit. So, all right. Here is kind of an example of Idaho Falls. Currently 51 homes on the market. Absorption rate's even lower at 0.29. So a third of a month or a 1 1/4 of a week's worth of market. So in other words, nobody can afford to take a week off right now, because if you do, the market will crash. We will have no listings. So everybody's got to keep working.
So on these parameters, just so you guys, I used all the high schools, high school boundaries. That's how we came up with this number.
Yep. Yeah, Greater Idaho Falls area within Bonneville County. So, okay, next slide. And this is a breakdown of current actives as well. Kind of shows you where things are. Obviously, it's at 600 or under again is where we're seeing things go faster. Once you go 600 above, anytime you see a high number like at 648, what do you know about some homes in that area? It's unrealistic. They're listed
overpriced. Yep.
Well, Chad and I might mention, we kind of talked a little bit about this one the other day. There's a couple homes out in the market that are kind of close to commercial areas. And so they're listing these homes, hoping that someone will pay for the commercial possibilities of that lot. And so the home is not, if it was not near commercial, it wouldn't be nearly that expensive, but they're waiting for a developer to say, hey, you're adjacent to my commercial property. I'm going to pay more to get that into commercial. So.
Yep. All right. So even next slide we go on, even with for sale by owners, there's a very small amount of homes that are for sale by owner. Bonneville County, Jefferson County, Bingham County, not even hardly existent there. So anyway.
On this one, I do want to point out, Chad,
yeah,
there are 51 homes on the market in the Idaho Falls area, and there are 26 for sale by owners in Bonneville County. That is nearly half the inventory running on for sale by owners.
Yep. And so we know that as buyer's agents, that's where you can go in and get a deal. People that don't necessarily, they don't really understand the market, and kind of go in there and represent your buyers. So
yeah, we're really seeing, like, on the for sale by owner front, we're really seeing either they're too high and they sit and they end up with an agent within 2 weeks, however long, or they're too low. And I've told my buyers that for sale by owners is an option to maybe get a little bit of a deal, because it's usually either or. It sucks. They can never quite get there in the get there in the right spot. So.
Which this helps you understand the stat we've heard before better. Sorry to cut you off, Ashley. Sorry.
Go ahead.
You got me excited with what you said. I mean, we know that you net more with an agent than you do on your own. And you have those two different parts of the market. You have the overpriced ones and the ones that are underpriced. And now we can see why you net more with an agent than you do on your own, because the ones that are underpriced are moving. They don't have representation, and it's, it's a way you get a discount now. So, all right, Jess, let's turn things over to you for Nosy Neighbors. And
So
we're a little long-winded here, so
yep,
we have a number of slides here. So.
We had a super fun Nosy Neighbors month. Had some really great stuff. The Toys for Tots drive that's going on, International Institute of Massage Therapy, which is a great massage therapy school, a brand new daycare, Courageous Cubs, which has some really great options, opened over by kind of in the area of iJump. Arcane Marketing and RiseX, really cool group of guys that are collaborating to help local businesses. Idaho Falls Pediatric Dentistry. Sorry, that moved to the next. I'm meeting that dentist, Dr. Kaylee, really cool. Castlebridge Preschool, we loved. It's below the First Presbyterian Church, and a really neat Christian-based preschool, which is a non-for-profit, really awesome. Elite Care Residential Habilitation was a really cool experience. I didn't understand. They help people who have disabled adults live independently so that they don't have to live at home. Really neat people, really neat program. And that was really fun to learn about them. We've got coming up this next month, Infringer Insurance, talked a lot about business insurance and understanding the importance of business insurance. Quality Home Fitness, a lot of people don't know where they buy a treadmill or elliptical in town locally. You'll see that coming up. Cocoa Beach is a tanning salon area that has those kind of aesthetics. Eagle Rock Gallery is a local gallery, really cool. Grand Peaks Prime Meats, amazing. So excited to talk about that one. They have a whole, you can order meat that is completely cooked and you can just pick it up. Call them and say, hey, I want a rack of ribs for my family tonight. You show up, it's all cooked. You take it home hot. I mean, some really cool stuff. We had a prime rib for Thanksgiving from them, and it was amazing. The Artsy Aussie.
Hold on here. Then you take away all their wrapping. You kind of put it in the grill outside, and you make it look like you are a meat.
Yeah, you look like a meat master
person. Meat
That's
master.
Right. So they actually, they do a certain French way of cooking that they're going to demonstrate to us, where they put it in a vacuum sealed bag, and they cook it in water instead of in the oven. Anyway, I'm excited for that one. What?
It's the cooking technique. It's called sous vide.
Sous vide.
S-O-U-S, separate word V-I-D-E.
Yes. So anyway, they've got a whole commercial.
It's delicious. That is
amazing.
Best steak I've ever had.
Yeah. Then we're doing the East Idaho Aquarium. They've got some really cool things. Splash, self-serve dog wash, and then Easy Detailing, which is a new detailing shop. So we've got some fun stuff coming up with Nosy Neighbors, some really neat local businesses.
Cool. All right, Casey, let's hear your affiliate story.
I just want to shout out to Title, because Title One, my clients have 5 girls that are all under the age of 13, and they all 5 tested positive for COVID, and the mom also tested positive for COVID. So Title just went above and beyond and made sure that we could get papers signed, and they allowed them to do a curbside signing and basically just got the job done. So
wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That is great.
Great job. That's Title One.
Yep.
Everybody's figuring out how to make things happen.
Yep, exactly.
Yep. Cool. All righty. Well, I think that is it, Jess. And it is 12:02. We're over a couple minutes. But thanks, everybody. Thanks for being here. Jeremy, thanks for being back.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. And Connie, glad you're better. Sheila, glad you're better. Whitney, hope you continue to stay good. Abby, you're healthy now too. Feeling good from COVID. And everybody else, stay away from it. Yeah.
Might have been Dalton that started the whole thing. He was
Dalton started the whole thing.
Man.
What was the
Patient
channel?
zero.
It went Dalton, then it went kind of hit us all at once, Allie and Don and yeah.
Chad.
Me,
Chad.
of course. Yeah.
Me. Yeah. Wow.
Jeremy always likes to drink out of my cups and finish my cereal bowl in the morning. He loves that milk.
You can eat that?
We don't share spoons anymore, so
Unless we only got one, buddy.
that's right. That's right. So, all righty, everybody. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and I will get with Jeremy, Hunter, Elise, and Abby on times for ringing the bell. So,
Yeah.
thanks, everybody. See you later.
See ya.
If you want to be in the know on the value of your home, then click on the link or give us a call.
You may feel like prices are high, but there has never been a better time to sell your home and buy a home. Call us and we'll explain why.
Our team has outpaced the market in dollars per home sold and time on the market. If you want to see how your home would sell and how much it would sell for, give us a call.
If you love the idea of having someone to contact at any time, that's the benefit of a team. Give us a call, let us talk about your process and how you can have a better experience, a more satisfying experience in real estate with Murdock Manwaring Company.